Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, starring Jason Fleming, Dexter Fletcher, Nick Moran, and Jason Statham, directed by Guy Ritchie. Now, before I get into this, welcome to Guy Ritchie's filmography, as I have done one other movie of his, and that was the Aladdin remake live-action one, I'll say, which I'm going to revisit while I'm going through some of the movies. But some of this stuff I have seen, and this beginning stuff so far I have not seen. So this is one of the ones I haven't seen. We'll catch up to the ones I have seen before when we get to the ones I've seen before. But right now we're in the territory of stuff I've never even seen. So let's get into it. Longtime before best friends, Bacon, played by Jason Statham, Soap, played by Dexter Fletcher, Tom, played by Jason Fleming, and Eddie, played by Nick Moran, tried to make 100,000 pounds. And yet, I said pounds because this movie takes place in the United Kingdom, as they make a plan out of it. And I enjoy the hell out of being around being with these characters, as they're very relatable and very well developed by the actors, as they call Hatchet Harry to make the plan with him, despite I can't understand half the dialogue. But I did turn on subtitles for their second viewing because of their accents. But the lines being said by these actors are entertaining from start to finish. We get introduced to Big Chris, played by Vinnie Jones, whom I have reviewed before as the Juggernaut in 2006's X-Men 3, along with his son Little Chris beating up on another man named John, while Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie hang out in a bar where they're supposed to get Hatchet Harry, while Barry the Baptist gets a couple of goons at a job to get his money back. And Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie go to a card game, as Eddie goes in and meets Hatchet Harry, while the other guys hang out in the pub. And the cinematography looked good, but not great, as it was the late 1990s. But don't get me wrong, I really liked the movie, but the cinematography doesn't hold up today. Bacon asks Rory Breaker, to turn down the TV at the pub while they're unsatisfied with their drinks. And Eddie continues the meeting with Hatchet Harry as they play some cards, and Hatchet Harry wants to continue playing the game with Eddie, and he loses the game, and now he owes a debt to Hatchet Harry. While some of the shots by director Guy Ritchie are great to look at when we're inside scenes, whereas the outside scenes were not my favorite scenes of the movie. And the music choices work for this movie, as it makes perfect sense for this movie, and the editing was tightly edited for a movie that is an hour and 47 minutes long. Eddie comes back to the pub empty-handed, and Bacon has a talk with Eddie about while Hatchet Harry's goons torture and kill a man hanging upside down. And I like being around those guys, while Barry the Baptist's goons has a place of their own, as those motherfuckers are good. But I more relate with Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie, as they have another entertaining dialogue scene, as this movie completely engaged me for the hour and 47 minutes it is, as it's a hell of a lot of fun. Big Chris and Little Chris visit Hatchet Harry, while Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie plan on getting their 500,000 pounds. What happened to 100, I wonder, pounds? As they start by looking for the person who's carrying a bag full of 500,000 pounds. And we learn of the character Rory Breaker. And I like how menacing this motherfucker is while Barry the Baptist's criminals being some guns and gets yelled at by someone who is big. And that scene made me laugh. And Big Chris meets JD, who's played briefly by the singer Sting. And there are times this movie was making me laugh, while others I was surprised to see in the movie, like the singer Sting, for example. Nick the Greek gives Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie some guns for their mission, as one of the guys, Plank, from Hatchet Harry's goons, looking for Willie, and he says to let him up briefly, and Plank points a gun at one of the guys and shoots his ass dead. And Willie learns they're getting fucked, and they get the rifle, and the other goons learn Hatchet Harry's goons inside the apartment, which was a brutal scene to watch, but it works for this movie. Hatchet Harry's goons grabs bags and to put the money in the van, and a cop almost gives them a ticket, and one of the goons knocks the cop out, and all of a sudden, a woman comes in with the fucking machine gun, which fell completely out of the blue, while one of the Hatchet Harry's goons punches her out, and they get out of the area while Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie wait for the goons and of Hatchet Harry's to tie them up and tapes their mouths shut and take off with their van, and they knock out the poor traffic warden, that's the cop, for the third time. And as this guy is fucked, as Big Chris is hired by Hatchet Harry to look for the assholes who stole his money in this van. And this is still working for me, as I'm still having a bit of fun. Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie celebrate and get drunk and knocked out, and suddenly Nick the Greek is captured by Rory Breaker, and Rory threatens to kill Nick. Meanwhile, one of Hatchet Harry's goons named Dog are looking for the men who stole from them, while Hatchet Harry's goons are on the phone with Hatchet Harry himself, as they can't get the money or guns back. And maybe a little bit of this could be cut from the movie, but I still like it. Big Chris beats up on some of Hatchet Harry's goons as Dog gets hit and steals a car to go after the other half of Hatchet Harry's gang, while Rory shoots up another place where more of Nick the Greek's goons are killed, as Bacon, Soap, Tom, and Eddie stop the police, let me say, and they see what the fuck happened to the place while Chris leaves the building, and a couple of guys walk in the building while Eddie calls Hatchet Harry to bring his money and his guns back, and Hatchet Harry shoots the two guys dead while he suddenly dies, and Dog pulls out to knife a little Chris as Big Chris starts the car, and this is getting pretty fucking intense at this point. Tom and Eddie's go up to Hatchet Harry's place and see not only he's dead, but their bag of money as well as a rifle. And Eddie gets back in the car and are bumped by Big Chris as well as Dog, who gets killed by Big Chris and his car, and tries to return the money as Tom gets arrested and gets out a couple of years later. And he goes to the bar with his father, who makes him walk. And Tom talks with the other guys about how he left the bag full of money as well as the guns. And he goes out and gets them, and Big Chris brings them back their bag and leaves as they call Tom and say they've got a way to get rich, while he throws the guns in the river while it doesn't hit the water. And one of the other guys calls on him on his cell phone. And the movie ends there, as the climax was clever, fun, and a good time. But we'll see how much of a good time it is with the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.1 out of 10. I really enjoyed the hell out of being around these characters, despite they're very hard to understand because of their thick accents. But I put on subtitles in this second viewing, and I might watch it again as with subtitles on in my future. But the lines being said by the actors are entertaining, as well as this whole movie entertained me from start to finish. The cinematography looked good, but honestly not great, as it was the late 1990s. Despite I really liked the movie, but the cinematography doesn't hold up today. But the inside scenes work much better than the outside scenes, as director Guy Ritchie shoots the inside scenes pretty well, as the music choices work for this movie, and the editing was pretty damn tightly edited for an hour and 47 minutes. The movie is a hell of a lot of fun, and it was engaging and entertaining me from start to finish, as this movie is, if you want to understand it, put on subtitles. And this is a solid recommendation for Guy Ritchie's directorial debut, and this is a good time, and I recommend you watch this and have a good time. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Snatch, another one I've been hearing about that I hear is a really good movie. And until then, good night, everyone.